Hey everyone, my name is Neil Aryan. This is the eighth video in a series of videos that I'm going to be doing that talks about different topics covered on the AWS CLP exam. In this video, we're going to be talking about block and file storage. Let's talk about instance stores. These are physical block level storage for an EC2 instance. They're physically attached onto the instance and they have the same lifespan, which means that when you terminate these, they actually lose all the data that's stored inside of them. Now, in order to not have this occur, say if we want to have the data retained and we want to transport it to another instance, then we would use Amazon Elastic Block Storage, which does the same thing. It pretty much stores volumes that you can use with EC2 instances that hold data. However, when you terminate the EC2 instance that has an EBS, all of the data retains. All of the data is still available even after the EC2 instance is terminated. And because these volumes are good for data that is needed to persist and maybe stay for a long, long time, it's important to back up all of this data. And what you would do is you would create backups of these volumes called EBS snapshots, which they're just an incremental backup for the Elastic Block Storage. They contain the most recently altered version of a block storage, and they don't contain every single version of that storage that has ever come into existence from different instances of EC2. Now let's talk about AWS Simple Storage Service. And this is a service that allows for object storage. And you can upload any kind of file to this, such as images, videos, and text files. They also may be used to host static websites, which means websites that can't really have any hyperlinks, pretty much websites that just show a bunch of text. An example of this kind of website would be an informational page or maybe a project that you could do that would just contain information on one specific topic, but nothing after that, really. They pretty much have unlimited storage. However, an individual file may be capped at 5 TB of storage. But otherwise, S3 can hold an unlimited amount of files. Now, let's talk about the different storage classes that you can choose. Amazon S3, you pay for what you use, but it depends on what you use is what you're paying for. See, there's a lot of different types of storage classes, and when you consider each different class, you want to consider a couple factors. And these are how often you need your data to be accessed and how quickly you need to have your data when you request for it. The difference between this is you can pull your data multiple times a day or just a few times in a month. And that's how often you pull your data. But how quick you need to retrieve your data means when you request your data, you can get it in a couple seconds versus maybe a couple hours if it's not super important. The first class we're going to look at is standard infrequent access. And this is ideal for infrequently accessed data. Now, it's similar to S3 standard, but it has a lower storage price and a higher retrieval price. And this is meant to hold on to data that is not accessed as frequently, but when it is accessed, it has a fast retrieval time, such as, let's say, an emergency restart procedure whenever a server goes down in your company. Maybe you'd want to keep it here because I would hope that a server doesn't go off pretty frequently in your company, but when it does, you want that data very quickly. So data such as that might be good for you to keep on a standard infrequent access type storage class. Now, let's talk about standard. This is designed for frequently accessed data multiple times in a day, and this data is stored in a minimum of 3 availability zones, which ensures fault tolerance in case something happens to one of those availability zones. The use case for these would be to hold static websites, for content distribution, and for data analytics. Now let's talk about one zone infrequent access. This stores data in a single availability zone. It has a lower storage price than a standard infrequent access, and you would use this pretty much just when you want to save costs on storage. But you can easily reproduce your data in the event of an availability zone failure. And Amazon made it this way because it's made just to be in one zone. But if that one zone falls, they don't want all your data to be lost. So they ensure a very easy way for you to replicate your data onto another availability zone in case one of it fails. And let's talk about intelligent tiering. This is ideal for data with an unknown or changing access pattern. It does require a small monitoring and automation fee for every object that you keep in it. And the use case would be a seasonal website, such as tax season websites. H&R Block and other kinds of tax resources, their websites are only accessed or most frequently accessed right before tax season. So you would want, these would be infrequently accessed most of the time, but then right before tax season, very, very frequently accessed. And another use case would be information about an exam such as the SAT. These exams occur only a few times in a year. And if right after an exam, no one really cares about the information, but right before the exam, everyone wants to know all about the exam. So that's why these websites would be beneficial if they would be stored on the S3 intelligent tiering aspect. Now let's talk about Glacier. Glacier is a cheap option. It has really slow retrieval, but it's able to retrieve an object for a few minutes or up to a few hours. You can also get it expedited, which means you're able to get it done a little quickly, and you're able to retrieve these objects quickly in case that you need them. Some of the use cases would be archived customer data, old photos, videos, maybe police or court reports that you don't really need immediately, but you would want it within the day. Now, the other Glacier is Glacier Deep Archive, which is the hands down cheapest option for storing your data. It's made for archiving old data or data that you rarely need to use, and it retrieves objects within 12 hours. Now, when you choose between Glacier and Glacier Deep Archive, be sure to consider the required retrieval time as they vary greatly, because you can expedite something on Glacier, but if Glacier Deep Impact is being used, it doesn't matter it doesn't matter how quickly you need it, you will get it when it's finished retrieving that object. You can't expedite it in any way, but only in Glacier you can expedite the process to retrieve your data. Now let's talk about file storage. In file storage, many clients or users can access data that is shared in file folders. And in this approach, there's a really big storage server that has a block storage with a local file system that organizes files. And a client can access data through the file paths. An example of this could be a shared Google document. And the path to this would be obviously to first connect to the internet. Then you would go on to Google Docs. You would sign into that Google Doc. Then you would go to the specific document that you want to find. Then maybe go to the page that you want to edit. And that's the file that you're going to be editing. That's a shared Google document. Then you could also have a group chat in which you send different images on. Now, I'm not quite sure about how a group chat, what the file path for a group chat may be, but in a group chat, people may send photos, they may send large texts in there, information that you just want to distribute to people, and maybe you want to edit something or send your own piece of information in. And a place like that is where there's going to be a good amount of storage of different kinds of files, such as maybe videos, audio clips, and images and text files. So that's what file storage is used for. Now, for Amazon, we have Amazon Elastic File System. And this is a scalable file system used within the AWS cloud services, and it can be accessed using on-premise resources using AWS Direct Connect. It can scale on demand to petabytes without disrupting any application, and it can also scale automatically to accommodate for greater than usual traffic. And one of the main use cases for this is data analytics running in between more than one server. Now, we just talked about Elastic Block Service. Let's talk about Elastic File Service or system. EBS stores data in only one availability zone, and it's accessible only when you're in that availability zone. However, for EFS, you can store data across several availability zones, and they're accessible across the entire region. Even if your data is in one availability zone or several, it's still going to be accessible throughout the entire region. And unlike EBS, they can be accessed using Amazon Direct Connect from on-premise servers, whereas for EBS, you need to either have a hybrid or be fully operational on the cloud. Thank you for watching this video. In this video, we covered many topics such as EBS, S3, file storage, and EFS. In the next video, we're going to talk about database services, what they are, what they're used for, and different kinds of them. Thank you for watching this video. Please like and subscribe and hit the like button. Have a great day.